Are we live really? Maybe you need refresh or something.
Fresh. Yes. I can see the audio. Okay. Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone. Okay, so today we're going to continue our YOLO story series, and today's series is about how to achieve breakthrough with your personal transformation. Okay, and today you can discover how you can achieve financial transformation or achieve transformational breakthrough in your career with this advice from our coach Dylan Wong.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so how I met Dylan was around 2 to 3 years ago. It was through a seminar, but he wasn't there yet. It was a seminar conducted by one of our, it was some training to teach financial advisors on referrals. So I attended the seminar, and the trainer actually showed Dylan's transformation from being like a introverted self to now a highly successful, sought after financial advisor mentor. Yeah, so I went up to him and I joined him, and I told him that I wanted to join his team.
Because it's one of the very, very few rare ones that really implemented everything that was taught in that course itself.
Yeah, my first impression of him was very passionate on about coaching mentors, coaching financial advisors on how to become better, and that was what made me drawn to him that is of his passion. Okay, so without further ado, let me just introduce who is Dylan. Dylan, you may know him as Coach Dylan Wong. Some of you may have watched his personal development videos, marketing videos, and business-related videos on Facebook, Instagram, and even YouTube. Right? And he also manages the role of being a lead partner of a business consultancy firm. Okay, and a performance coach to financial services managers as well as financial advisors. Okay, and he also managed to achieve his first year MDRT and top manager in both team sales and recruitment, eventually becoming one of the youngest financial services director by the age of 26, or before even 26 years old. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Some of your audience may not have seen you on social media.
This is my first video with YOLO. Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself and share with us about your background and how you and why you started your career in the financial services industry?
Sure. When I first got into this industry, my very primary intention was all about learning. You know, I wanted to learn more about finance. I wanted to be financially independent. I just wanted to turn my family situation around. And at that time, because one of the key reasons is because my mom was a single mom, you know, and then during my younger days, I saw how hard she worked and how much she struggled financially throughout the years. So I figured that, you know, the best way to learn about money, the best way to learn about finance is to join the financial sector. So my first experience with the financial sector was when I was 17. You know, back then I was a telemarketer working for an insurance agency. So I would be studying full-time from 9 to 5 and then 6 to 9 working part-time in insurance agency, right? I'll be fixing appointments, I'll be coordinating all the administrative stuff for them. And at that time, I have never thought myself entering the finance industry because number one, I'm an engineering student. I never thought of going into finance. I never thought I would be in the front-end role, right? Because I was more introverted. I would rather be more of the back end. So my plans was very simple back then. I just wanted to, you know, study hard, get into a university, and then eventually get a good job from there, because that was what I believe was the only way to become financially successful. You know, but things started to change. You know, things started to change when I was in national service, where I had to make a decision whether I should pursue my university studies or should I enter the workforce. It was a life-changing decision for me, because back then I remember having this conversation with my mom, you know, and it was a night time, and I spoke to her. I say, I have secured a placing in a local university, and then all she asked me was, how much does it cost? So it was about 30,000. And then my mom told me that, you know, she didn't have the savings to pay for it, and suggested me to take a bank loan, you know. But I didn't want the additional stress of the loan, because I had my another loan from diploma already. I don't want to add on this additional loan. At the same time, I didn't want my mom to worry about me because all she wanted me to do was to study uni. You know, and I told her, I say, let me think about it, I'll figure something out. You know, and then at that time, I was pretty lost. I didn't know what else I can do. So I started to ask myself one question, which is, what do I really want in life? You know, can this paper qualification really help me get there? You know, because after looking at some of the seniors that graduated and started working, every time I met them, they were always complaining about work. You know, and then that really didn't inspire me to want to follow their footpath, you know. So that was when I started to realize that I didn't want to pursue my university studies because I didn't want to take on additional stress, additional debt, to study something I'm not interested in and drag going to school for another 3 years just for the sake of the cert, which can't even give me the financial independence that I want. And what really drove me back then was really to turn my family situation around. I wanted to provide more for my family. I wanted my mom to be able to retire because I could see that, you know, she have worked really hard, and because of that her health deteriorated. You know, and for me the feeling that I've experienced the most is I just hate the feeling of keep having to worry about money. You know, so that is why I wanted to learn more about finance. I want to learn how to better manage my finance well, and then how I can get ahead financially. So it was also the time when I started exploring around. I was Googling, you know, how does the rich get richer? I was reading books, I was attending previews. I also chanced upon the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. That also changed my thinking of how I should plan my career. And then through that journey, it wasn't that smooth because I remember my first so-called business that I did was an online business. I built up a website within 9 days during national service when I had 9 days MC after wisdom tooth operation. You know, I had YouTube on the right side, WordPress on the right side, and then I created a website to promote software online. So after several months, 5-6 months, I put in the money, I put in time, and then it was still not profitable. I was really very discouraged because I thought to myself, is there anything else I can do? You know, but very thankfully, it was during that period I connected with my mentor CK via Facebook, and then CK said something that really hit me a lot, which is, do you know why you're not getting results? Like, you're not getting results. Because he was asking me what was I doing. I was telling him I was doing all this website, but I'm not seeing results, right? And then the key thing is that what I learned from him that day when I met with him is that if you really want to have a good head start, stop figuring things out by yourself. Because in this day and age, right, things are moving just too fast. By the time you figure things out, right, it might be already too late. You know, so you want to be successful, model after someone successful. Don't reinvent the wheel because there's a really proven formula. So he suggested this to me. He asked, why not come over, learn from me, and then at the same time you can make some money. So to me at that time it was a no-brainer already, right? But at the same time I was still very uncertain because it's something that I've never done before, the financial sector, the front end role, you know. But I still decided to take the leap of faith because I wanted this opportunity to learn. For me, at the very, very start, it's all about learning. It's all about acquiring the skill sets that I need. You know, I wanted to learn more about money. I wanted to learn more about business, and I feel that this was one of the best opportunity that was offered to me back at that time. Long story short, no regrets. I think over the years, I've learned a lot in the area of finance. I managed to turn my family situation around. At the same time, the most satisfactory part of this career is that I'm able to help others achieve that as well. So when you have clients coming to you and tell you thanks for all the advice, and you know, coming to you and tell you that that your advice changed their life. I have my sergeant major. Whenever I go back reservice, he saw me and say, "Hey everyone, this is my financial consultant. You know, if you need any financial advice, you can call him." That made me feel that my work really has an impact. You know, I really feel that this career is a very meaningful career that can impact life beyond finance. That we are here to help people protect and grow their money. Yeah. So that is why, if you ask me why I joined this industry and why I stay till now, because I feel that this is really a very meaningful career.
I see. Can I say, is that the reason how Coach Dylan came about? Why Coach?
Interesting. Okay, Coach Dylan Wong didn't. It came about a few years ago when I attended this NLP program. After attending the program, I felt a lot of transformation within me, and then I was so inspired and impacted by the coaches in the program. You know, and then I told myself I need to learn what they do, how they are able to change someone's identity, mindset, beliefs, and you know, within just a short span of 9 days. So I registered for the coach training, and then as I started sharing what I learned, people start calling me Coach Dylan Wong, Coach Dylan Wong, Coach Dylan Wong. And that was when I started embracing this identity of a coach. Because I believe that, if you want to be a great leader, you need to learn how to be a great coach first. All great leaders are great coaches. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be a coach is also so that I can help my team grow, not just professionally, but also as a person. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of teams, what made you decide to go on the management path?
You mean the started building teams?
Yeah.
For me, I believe that we all have different stage of the life. At different stage of our life, we fight for different things. At the very earlier part of the career, I was fighting for survival. Putting food on the table. And then after that was settled, right? And then the next thing that I was fighting for was security. I don't want to just being able to feed myself. I want to be able to take care of people around me, which is my family, my sister, right? Financially. But after that is settled, the next thing that I look up that I was fighting for was for success, right? I wanted more. I wanted to achieve more in my business, right? For the recognition, I wanted to prove to the rest that I'm worthy. So that was the earlier part of the business where I was fighting for very superficial things, right? Fighting for recognition, fighting for all the material stuff. But after a while, you just realize that all these things become not as meaningful as before. Right, I'm sure you experience some of that as well, and then you realize that the next stage that people look out for is this thing called significance, where you fight for reasons beyond yourself, where your happiness does not revolve just around you, right? It revolves around people around you. So at that time, what makes me wanted to move up management was because I enjoy coaching people, I enjoy helping people, and seeing people becoming successful, and when I see them successful, it makes me happy as well. I remember after I achieved my round table, I had this few friends that came to me and asked me how I did it, and then from that conversation itself, I realized that a lot of them they are hardworking people. They put in the time and work in their business, but they're just not seeing results because they simply just lack the right methods, the right mentorship, the right environment. And I remember there was this one person, I think you know him as well, let's not mention his name. He met me about, he was telling me he is on the verge of quitting already, and he's driving Grab just to survive. And then he said, can you meet me please? And he was like 11 p.m. Yeah, for quite a while. And then he met up with me, he said, I'm thinking of quitting the industry, but I'm just not sure. I just thought I should meet you first before making this decision. So I met up with him with no intention to want to recruit him. I wanted to just help him out as a friend. Then he was sharing with me the struggles that he has been meeting a lot of people, but he's just not making enough to sustain his basic expenses. And then I just felt that why would someone that is so hardworking in a business and then putting so much getting results, right? And then I told him, I say actually right now what you need, right, is not to change your job, because this will happen again, or change your place, right? What you need is a real strategy that can really help you get paid. So long story short, in the end, after 5 hours, he decided to come over to our team. I told myself that moving on to management, one of the key reasons why is to really help financial advisors in this industry become more and more successful without using the traditional methods of back then when I was 17 years old doing cold calling. All this method is not as effective really, because at that time when he met me, he was doing cold calling. I told him there are many other ways that you can acquire clients on a more consistent basis. Yeah, so I wanted to change how financial advisors is being perceived. I wanted to change how they conduct their business in a way that is enjoyable, in a way that is long-term and sustainable. Yeah.
Okay. Based on your experience, what is the biggest problem financial advisors face?
A lot of times when I'm asked this question, when I ask this question to advisor, a lot of times the biggest problem they told me was prospecting or closing. Right? They have issues finding customers, or it's either they have no people to meet, or they have people to meet but they cannot close. Right? It's usually these two. But what I realized that about business or in life, right, is that success is 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. Actually, the formula is very simple. Closing, prospecting is a learnable, transferable skill, right? And I believe that the biggest problem that people face, the most important one, is that they are unclear of their identity. Right? They're unclear of their identity because when you cannot clearly define yourself, other people will define you, and they will validate you based on their standards. Right? If you don't see yourself as someone that is worthy enough to serve someone, you won't want to approach other people. Right? That's why a lot of people, they don't dare to approach their friends. They don't dare to approach people that they know. They want to do the co-prospecting part, right? Which is a lot of times the traditional path, a traditional prospecting method that don't work anymore, right? And understand this. Understand this, right? Your identity shapes your behavior. If you try to change your behavior, right, will not last unless you change your identity. Let me ask you a question. What is one thing that you know, right, you will never do?
Door knocking.
Okay, door knocking. Why?
Why? Because I feel quite like terrible.
You just don't see yourself as a door knock agent.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
Like, I just wanted to make a point. Just like, I will never murder someone because I don't see myself as a murderer, right? So how you see yourself will determine what you will do and what you will not do.
Okay.
You get what I mean? Like, you don't see yourself doing door knocking because you don't see yourself as a door knock agent, right? So instead of just changing or trying to change the behavior of a prospecting or closing, the first thing is, how do you look at yourself as a consultant? Right? What kind of consultant are you, right? And I after talking to many candidates and consultants, I realized that all the successful consultants, they share 3 identities in common, right? The first thing that I see in successful consultants or people who really have a breakthrough in this career is that they all have a winner mentality. They all have a winner identity. You agree with me? They all have a winner mindset that they don't play not to lose, they play to win. Like, you see those that are not producing results or they are just having average results, most of the time they are just playing not to lose. They are just doing the bare minimum. They will just do things when it's easy and convenient. They will not go outside of their comfort zone to do things that is necessary. You know, they all have the winner mentality. They will do whatever it takes to make things happen. They will not give themselves excuses. That's the first thing that I see that is very, very different. Because once you have a winner identity, you will find ways to make things work for you. You will not wait for answers. A lot of times, advisors stagnate because they are facing the same problem, but they're waiting for answers. They're not finding answers. Right? I know Geraint, before I met him, he was doing the traditional methods.
Yes.
Right? Cold calling, roadshows, canvassing, all the traditional methods that you know of, he had done it. Right? But what separated him from the rest is that he's willing to change. He's willing to find answers. And I think it took quite a while, right? About 2 years or so to figure a way to
1 year plus.
1 year plus or so to figure a way that suits him. Right? The second identity that I see in many successful consultants is that they don't look at this just as a sales job. Because if you're just running sales, you're just focusing on one thing, which is transaction. And after a while, you get very, very tired. You know, after you close this person, your next focus is to move on to the next person, next person, next person. And this cycle never ends. And after a while, you experience burnout. After a while, even if you hit your MDRT or you gotten the breakthrough that you want, you will feel like quitting. Because you don't want to keep repeating this cycle that is never ending. Right? I realized that successful consultants, they don't just see themselves as a sales job, they see themselves as an entrepreneur. And what's the difference between a salesman identity and entrepreneur identity? That salesman focuses on just transaction, making a sale and move on to the next person. Whereas an entrepreneur, right, they don't just focus on making transactions, they focus on building database. They focus on building a brand. They focus on having people at work, system at work for them. So that the more successful they become, right, they have more time for themselves. Rather than going in the traditional method of roadshows. 10 years ago, you're doing roadshows. 10 years later, you are still doing roadshows. You're still on the streets prospecting people. Right? So you know that the hard work that you put in front, at the end of the day, life becomes easier for you. Right? That you no longer just exchange time for money. You have your system working for you, you have people working for you, you have your brand working for you. Life becomes easier, and the best part of this is that you have choices, right? Meaning to say you get to do what you want to do. You can say no to things that you don't want to do, right? So that's the second thing that I see in successful advisors that can be in the industry for long term, right? The third thing that I see that successful consultants have is the identity of a professional, Okay, what do I mean by that? A lot of advisors, they don't dare to approach they don't dare to approach people that they care for, people that they know. It's because they don't view what they do as professional. They feel that they are very commission centric, very target based. They see this job as just a sales job. They're just promoting a product, right? But as a successful consultant, you cannot be successful in this business if you don't believe in the value of your work. Agree? You cannot be successful in this if you don't believe the value of your work. If you don't see what you do of value, you don't see yourself as a professional, chances are you will start having self-doubt. You will start having doubts whether if this line is for you, what you are doing is correct or not, if what you do can benefit others. And when you start having all these doubts, you wouldn't dare to approach people, you wouldn't even dare to prospect, and that becomes a vicious cycle of inactivity. They wouldn't want to meet people, they wouldn't want to make phone calls, right? So that is why if you see yourself like not wanting to work and then you kind of feeling lost, the first thing is that do you understand the value of your work? Like I say, if you can't clearly define yourself, others will define you and they will validate you based on their standards, right? Do you know the value of your work? Right? If you do not know, please consult your mentor, consult your leaders, right, to really run through this whole process with them, right? So that's why in our bootcamp training, we always talk about the value of our work first, the why first before talking about finding clients. They need to understand why they're doing what they're doing and the value or proposition of our work. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of mentors, what is one advice you would give to your younger self?
Okay. I think over the years, many things have changed for me. I feel that if there's one advice that I would give, would be to focus on the process and not the immediate results. Okay, what do I mean by that? I'm going to share a short story with you. Last year I signed up for a fitness program for 5 months, and then I hired a fitness coach to coach me in the area of fitness for over 5-6 months. One of the biggest lessons that I take away, which I feel is applicable in life, in business, right, is this. I was after training with him, there was one training. After training with him, I was standing on the weighing scale. Then I was looking at my weight, and I was asking him, how come I don't see any results? And then he told me one thing. He said, stop looking at the scale. The more you look at it, the weight will not change anyway. Focus on the process, right? So don't focus on the immediate result. Focus on the process, and the result will come. And why do I want to share this with many of you is because a lot of times you may experience burnout, you may experience disappointment, and because of that you can't move ahead, right? And what I've learned over the years that has kept me going is instead of looking at the immediate results, which makes me unhappy, right? Especially when you're not seeing results, focus on the process, focus on changing and tweaking your process, and the results will eventually come, right? And at the end of the day, you realize that success is never a destination. It is a journey. If you cannot enjoy the journey, you can't replicate what you do again, right? So I've learned to focus on the journey, focus on the process, and instead of just setting a weight loss goal, I started to set activity goals. Because I understand by focusing on the process, the result will come. So it's the same as business. Instead of looking at the business goals, I look at the activity goals that I need to do in order to achieve these results. You understand where I'm coming from? Right. So in short, basically, focus on the process. Do not focus on the immediate results, and the result will come.
All right. Any last parting words to the audience?
Well, I think if you talk about transformational breakthroughs in life, if you talk about creating accelerated head start in your career, number one thing that you really need to be clear about is knowing what you want, because you cannot attract what you do not know, right? The second thing that I feel that you need to look at is how do you see yourself? How do you define yourself? I think once you're clear with that, it will be aligned to the direction of your goals, right? Which is number one, know where you want to go, what you really want. That's what I did when I was in NS, thinking what I really want. And then the second thing is find out who you really are. The third one is finding a mentor that you can model after, that aligns with your values, that can shortcut your learning in this whole process, because you can avoid a lot of mistakes that he have already made, right? The best way to learn from experience is not your own experience, but to learn from other people's experience, right?
Yes. All right. So I hope you guys have learned something new from our Coach Dylan Wong.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to find out more about more about him and his mentorship program, we will attach the link below. And yeah, you can find him on his social media.
Yep, we'll also be having another interview next week, Wednesday at 2 p.m.
2 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 p.m. So stay tuned to our next interview.
Okay. See you.
Bye.
Bye bye.